Welcome to part 15 of Uncharted 15. And here we are seeing...
Uncharted 15?
Uncharted 15.
Jesus.
Wait, did I just say part 3 of Uncharted 15?
Yes.
It's the ultimate crossover.
Well, Pedro, good news.
Jova
Uncharted is going to get at least 11 more sequels after 4, it seems.
Jova, take a nap. You're drunk.
Basically, Pedro. So, Pedro, who are you rooting for in that Nathan Drake versus Lara Croft death battle, anyway?
Anyway, the first thing I'm going to be doing is stealth killing this guy, and that gives me a sniper rifle.
I guess that means he was rooting for Nate, then.
Alright, let's see.
I'll go for Lara myself.
Huh. Let me guess, because she's British?
Yes, and every true Brit must stay behind their country's representative.
Well,
even if that representative is Boris Johnson,
because I prefer Nate over Lara.
And he's saying that because she's English and not Welsh, you traitor.
Well,
he's more interesting than Lara.
Well, I can speak for the older pre-2014 games, but as far as the 2014 reboot is concerned, Nate is definitely a more interesting character.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I will... Sorry, I thought I'd move there. One thing I will say, Pedro, in terms of... Again, I've said this already, but in terms of portrayals of Lara, the worst one I've seen is
Angel of Darkness. Yeah,
we know. Although I'll admit, I have to really look into that game because I haven't really heard many issues about her character so much as just everything else.
It's not that she's portrayed badly or something. It's just that her character in the reboot is not interesting in any way, shape, or form. Which should be fine. Which would be fine if the tone was a bit more light. But you can tell they want us to pay attention to the story and take it so seriously because of all the gore and serious business talk and the way the characters all deliver the lines straight. It's kind of like that movie Salt with Angelina Jolie, where I think Richard Roper put it best. If that movie had a Tarantino-like tone to it, it would be much easier to just go along with it. But you can tell they want us to take it seriously, and there's no way a regular woman would survive all of that shit. But go ahead.
Not only that, but is it just me, or were they trying to make the reboot Lara seem like, I don't know, something to kind of just be there for the people who complained about original Lara's design?
I don't know about that. You'll have to ask Dwebs here, since he's the one who actually has experience with Tomb Raider.
Well, let's just say the reboot Lara kind of looks way younger than the original Lara. Let's just say, Pedro...
Well, it's supposed to be an origin story for Lara, so...
All I'll say for now is that in terms of in this case, in terms of the battle of either annoying or bland, I'll take bland, because at least the 2013 version of Lara doesn't act like a complete bitch to everyone she sees.
Sure, I understand that. Again, I don't know anything about Angel of Darkness, so I wouldn't know.
I don't know, Dwebs. 2013 Lara ain't exactly a saint either. I mean,
But Joe, I thought you hated Lightning. Doesn't she act like a bitch half the time?
No. Well, yeah, of course. I'm just saying, so does 2013 Lara
he's trying to say that the 2014 iteration isn't above being bitchy as well. That's what he's trying to say. Yeah,
like, seriously, those moments when she practically abandons that guy, I mean, come on. That was just... What are you doing? I literally screamed at the screen, like, what are you doing, girl? You're just abandoning the guy who helped you that much? Like, I mean, okay, look, I get it. I get that it's supposed to be action and stuff, but you can't just introduce a character then, sorry, you have to go now. Well...
Yeah, well, at least, again, I'm probably like the only person here who can overlook a dodgy story if I enjoy the gameplay. I think that's why.
I enjoy the gameplay.
I think that's why I'm easier on games such as DMC than you guys seem to be.
Well, in that case,
I've said many times, Dwebs, that honestly, also the gameplay of DMC was kind of my foremost issue. Like, let's be honest, Dwebs. There's a reason.
Also, my Oh no, sorry. You finished, Jova.
Let's be honest, Dwebs, there's a reason that for the remake of DMC, the rebooted version, they made it so that you could tweak the gameplay to be more like the original DMC because, again, the gameplay, while not the worst thing, was definitely lackluster compared to the original games. I mean, think about it
I haven't played the original games. I can't talk from that perspective. All I can say is I enjoyed it.
Which is why I don't have a problem with DMC either, because that was my first experience of that series myself.
Oh, I didn't know you played.
Yeah, me too.
That's just the thing, Dweb. Because of that, you're unaware of how that game is shitting on the franchise in general. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, the thing is,
from what little I've seen of the other games, I don't know.
Well, Dweb,
maybe I'll get more.
Well, I'm sorry, you go first, Shiroi.
You can't just see like a 10-minute clip of the original games and immediately discard our complaints.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying from what little I've seen so far. I mean, maybe I'll get more perspective as I play the other games because I actually got them now, but I just haven't had the chance to play them yet. So
I'll
for now,
explain later. But first, Shiroi, you go.
I was going to say, I should note that I don't own a copy of the game. I've played it at friends' houses.
Oh, so you played it in short bursts, that too. Basically, allow me to explain. DMC started off as a rather unorthodox game for its time, combining what was usually serious with actually a good sense of comedy. Like, seriously, literally, the first scene in DMC is you waking up pretty much drunk about a woman as you're about to hunt down a demon. And they run with it well. It's like, imagine if Twilight actually didn't take itself seriously, had a good sense of comedy to the levels of Deadpool, and that's pretty much Devil May Cry 1. Which, while not quite selling the best at first, despite being a launch game, left quite a big legacy, which spawned on the sequel. Okay, I'll admit, the sequel, DMC2, is the only thing considered worse than the reboot, and...
Briefly going back to the game, this is yet again another really tough section. I recommend definitely taking your time at first, and then the moment you're able to come into this place and get the rocket launchers, do so that you can blow up the tanks, because the tanks are obviously the most dangerous adversaries. If you get rid of them quickly, things would be easier from that point on. Going back to what Wes was saying, it's interesting you say that, Wes, about being able to enjoy. The plot. Even if the plot is not that good, I can still enjoy the game if I like the gameplay. It's interesting you say that, because even though even though it has problems, I still really like the plot of Phantom Pain. I've said over and over again when it comes to that game, even if Phantom Pain had the worst plot in the history of ever, the gameplay is so fucking brilliant that I honestly would be able to forgive it, because like I've said before, in terms of just overall gameplay polish and just overall thoughtful design, Phantom Pain is one of the best games out there. It's so well designed and so much fun, and there's so many different ways to go about it. Like, it's just one of those games where, I think Jim Sterling put it best in his review. This is a Metal Gear game that's just as good as the others. The only difference is that it's got its priorities reversed. Instead of putting story over gameplay, it's doing the opposite. It's putting gameplay over story. But go ahead, Jova.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame, though, that, gameplay was the thing that saved Metal Gear Solid 5 reception-wise, because, okay, the story's not bad, but, oh boy.
It's a shame that Kojima wasn't able to finish and give us chapter 3, because goddamn does it suffer from that lack of that deleted chapter, because again, Konami didn't...
Oh, sorry, go on.
For those who aren't aware, I'm guessing Shuri isn't, there's an entire third of the plot of Phantom Pain missing,
which may or may not be released as DLC eventually. That's still on the table.
Not at this point, honestly. They've released the definitive edition without it, so at this point I'm guessing they're done and moving on to Survive.
Look. If Capcom can bring back the reboot, albeit remade to the point where this might as well be called Devil May Cry 5, but I repeat, brought back improved, I actually wouldn't be surprised if Konami becomes that desperate.
Sure. Anyway, basically, Shiroi, Kojima wanted the game to actually be delayed for I think a year, was it? So that he could properly finish the game and finish up Chapter 3. Unfortunately, Konami already was starting to go into full Hitler mode. So
I hear all sorts of stories. I hear Konami was screwing him over. I hear Konami were
the best way to go about it, Dwibs.
Hang on. Well, I hear Konami was kind of worried that I heard some people blame to give some of the blame to Kojima because he was apparently eating up a lot of Konami's resources.
Well, that's what he always did from the beginning. And considering Phantom Pain is the highest-selling Metal Gear game of all time, it would have paid off if they let him finish it properly. Anyway, go ahead, Jova.
Anyway, Dwibs, in regards to getting the full true story, just do what I did and look up the post-mortem view of Konami.
Yeah.
I'll basically give you a summarization. Basically, at the time, Konami was in a bit of a tough strait because their stocks were falling. It had been a while since they'd done their last Metal Gear Solid game. Meanwhile, Kojima, they asked Kojima to also work on Metal Gear Solid 5. Well, he was also sort of in the middle of PT. You know that story already. So let's just say at the time, PT was going on at the time. Now, basically, Metal Gear Solid 5 was going to be a huge budget. Like, okay, you know how Capcom ended up, canceling Mega Man Legends 3 because of Kojima and how he was handling that?
Kojima?
Keiji Inafune.
Keiji Inafune. Remember how Keiji Inafune kind of got booted up with Capcom and, Legends 3 was canceled because he was eating up so much of the company's budget while taking a while? Well, unlike Inafune, Kojima, while doing a similar thing, had sort of a reputation that he ran off of. Because let's be honest, this was kind of how it went for all Metal Gear Solid games. There were always a big gamble that took up a lot of money with Kojima, ever since the first Metal Gear Solid 1 on PlayStation.
Yeah.
And, okay, now, that wouldn't have been so bad, only here's the thing. Konami at the time had found a gold mine in the mobile deposit with their Some Dragons game. So, who did they make president around at the time? The guy who made the games who they thought saved Konami at the time. The one in charge of mobile division. Which then led to them doing what people used to think Capcom was infamous for doing, though nowadays they aren't. Prioritizing mobile over the actual console games. Well, mobile and pachinko, we all know that song and dance. And thus, eventually, that's where things started to go dark. Because that's when they not only threatened Kojima otherwise, but that's when they started mistreating all their staff involved in anything but their mobile division.
It's not even just Kojima Dwibs. Konami literally has that reputation, and some really reliable sources, that they literally mistreat their employees really badly.
And employees that revealed that on Facebook and stuff would then mysteriously go disappearing. And I don't just mean they were fired, as in you never got to hear from them, ever again online.
So it's kind of like what was happening with... I heard that was a problem with Sausage Party as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean how people got abused or, were forced to the bone to work for that? They didn't have to do more animators.
Apparently, the director was an arsehole, or one of them was.
Basically, long story short, Konami got really bad, and it got to the point where they forced Kojima to pull a Sonic 06, Crash to Insanity, and Layton vs. Phoenix crossover all in one. Basically, he had to cut content, he had to cut story, he had to cut a lot.
Behold, guys, the only thing between us and the lost city of Aram is that giant door.
This will be a piece of cake.
Can we go over it?
No, we have to solve a puzzle to open it.
Okay then, that rules that theory out. Can we dig under it?
We don't have a shovel with us.
I don't think Judy Hopps is in here, so sadly no.
Wait, what is Judy? Oh, right.
That gag where she throws the pen over the fence, and then Nick climbs, and then right before he lands, Judy's already there with the pen in hand because she digged under it.
But yeah, I guess I'll just cap off the talk about Konami was saying. Pedro, how much do you think it must have killed Kojima to have to chop off an entire third of the story he had in mind?
It's sad because what we see, because I'll also be showing that off when we eventually do that. After doing the commentary, I'm also planning on having us commentate on what the remains of Mission 53. Basically, Dwibs, combine with all the unreleased, unfinished cutscenes of Chapter 3 that Kojima at time was made before that he was forced to take an axe to the game. Konami made this Episode 53 video that is basically the mission that actually explains what happened after a certain character took the Metal Gear away. Let's just say. So we're not going to bother to actually put this in the game. It's not like this could fill a big plot hole that the story is.
That would be silly.
No, instead we're going to make this a video that is only available to people who bought the collector's edition that comes with the Blu-ray that has it.
Well, this is the same company that tried to overprice us for what was essentially a demo with Ground Zero. So
Yeah.
I'll wait because I've heard at least from the fan base, I've heard mixed things about MGS.
Well, it's very mixed.
Whether it was
absolutely.
Whether it was stuff enforced on Kojima by Konami, or whether it was something that it was Kojima's fault in the first place.
Here's the thing, though, Dibs. Unlike most cases, we absolutely know what happened during that development. Kojima had a story in mind.
I'm just saying it's kind of like with
Dibs has to be the pessimistic as always.
It's not really comparable to any. Okay. Unless you can bring up another example where they actually do know the. Well, and also, Dibs, again, you can't really blame Kojima when. Okay,
I was gonna say it's like Spider-Man. It's like Spider-Man 3 in a way, where most of the stuff where most of the problems with that film were on Sony and the producers, but there were a couple of issues where it was just Sam Raimi's fault.
Hold on, guys. Let's actually. All right.
Yeah, I'll bring that up.
From this point on in the game, things are going to get heat up. We're going to start. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. The lost city of Aram. We found it at last.
I love the door. I love the door mechanism. The little mechanic.
Okay, guys. Going off the pattern of the previous two games, let's start taking bets. How long until this thing gets burned to the ground?
2 minutes.
Parts.
How the heck are they going to burn something that's already out in the debt? Oh, right.
For someone who loves finding lost civilizations, he also breaks them a lot.
Well, to be fair, that tends to be partially the fault of the villains.
It's a good job. Hey Pedro, it's a good job you break it, you buy it doesn't apply in this case, because otherwise Nathan would be going bankrupt within.
Fortunately, the people who own this city have died a long time ago, so they can't charge us.
That's why he goes on the adventures he does, because he needs to pay back all the shit he broke from the last one.
It's interesting. Now, Chapter 21, the Atlantis of the Sands.
I get it.
Holy crap! I love the overall design of the architecture of this city. It really you can tell it took inspiration from actual mythological portraits of the actual Atlantis from the seas, but really made it into an actual sand Atlantis. It's a really nice interpretation of that piece of mythology.
I was kind of surprised that they didn't try finding Atlantis in Uncharted 4, considering what they were going after.
I'm surprised you didn't do anything. I'm surprised. I'm surprised the series is.
Hold on, guys. This cutscene is important.
Wait, a fountain? No, they couldn't possibly be.
No. It's not. No, it's not the Fountain of Youth. If that's what you're thinking.
Huh.
I actually thought that myself as well, but no, it's not that.
Really?
In fact, it's although you are right in suspecting this fountain, Jove, I'll just say that.
So what could the MacGuffin be so bad then that they have to stop them from getting it?
We'll find out about it in the next part.
It's funny because
it's the water.
Moving on.
If it was the water, then you'd think they would have taken it
There's
already.
Something in the water.
Would you look at that? It's a day of black sun.
An eclipse.
Hey, Pedro, this reminds me...
Hold on, guys.
Don't look at the eclipse directly.
Oh, shit. Sadly, Uncharted 4 has already happened, so sadly this moment doesn't hold tension anymore, sadly.
Well, maybe there's someone on the internet who doesn't know about that yet.
Well, okay. For the sake of fairness, no, Shiroi. Well, for the sake of fairness, this was effective when the game was first came out in 2011. It's just that, well, now ever since then we've seen Uncharted 4, so it's kind of. But it's not the game's fault that this cutscene is no longer as effective as it was.
No, but I haven't seen Uncharted.
Okay. You see, Pedro, this is why I say, don't spoil anything, no matter how obvious or supposedly people may have seen it before. Remember, Shiroi is also a person who didn't know that Aerith was gonna die yet.
All right, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I knew that. That's
well, okay. Well, if it makes you feel any better, Shiroi, unlike Arif's death, they don't dwell on his so-called death for too long anyway, so don't worry. So it's not like it's not like it's a major thing. But yeah, I'm not even kidding, guys. When okay, this is actually one good thing that cool is that when I first played this game in 2011 on the PS3, I was just as mad as Nate because Nate is now going full apeshit against them.
And to be fair, he actually probably...
All right, and now, guys, check this out. Apparently, Marlowe's men have gained superpowers.
Like they turn into Ghost Rider.
Don't worry, Dwebs. We're going to explain what this is all about.
Oh my god, they turned into the firemen from Bioshock Infinite.
I know this feels out there, but trust me, they're going somewhere with this.
Shot him in the arse.
Basically, the thing now is that these guys... What happens now is that we have to kill them twice. When we kill them, they turn into Ghost Rider, as Joe so adequately put it. And then we have to kill them as Ghost Riders.
Oh, yeah.
Shame they didn't actually turn into Nicolas Cage, though.
No!
You know, it's so weird how Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 seems to have voice actors that do pretty good impressions of the voice actors. Like, Iron Man sounds like Tony Stark. Well, Iron Man surprisingly sounds similar enough to Robert Downey Jr. in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and Ghost Rider, oh boy, does he go for the Nicolas Cage impression.
Yeah.
Although I love one of Iron Man's quotes, "If I win, you're going to call off that lawsuit against Stark Industries, okay?"
No.
Bet
you'll never guess who he says that when he's going up against.
And before Dwebs asks, because I know Dwebs is probably keen to ask, how the hell? Okay, what the hell happened there? If I know Sully's not dead, don't worry, Dwebs. Everything will be explained in the finale, and it makes sense. Don't worry. It's actually really simple. The explanation, believe it or not, the explanation is actually really simple. No. Remember, we saw his blood, so not that.
Let's just remember in the future to, just because a game is out that contradicts stuff, not quite spoil what's gonna happen.
Well,
I mean, specifically when you tell people not to spoil people in the commentary who haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, very true.
Honestly, Shiroi, I'll go back to my philosophy. If you haven't played a game, you shouldn't be watching a commentary of it if you plan on playing it eventually.
I'm playing the prequel to the game you were...
Yeah, come on, Pedro. Be easy on the girl.
Wait, you already playing an Uncharted game? Or
No, I'm watching this one before 4, and you're spoiling...
Oh, that! Oh, never mind. Well, like I said...
That's what I meant. I understand. I agree with the whole philosophy of if you haven't played a game yet, you shouldn't be watching a commentary on it, but at the same time, it's like... There's a reason I haven't looked at 4 yet.
Imagine if my first experience with let's go with The Last of Us, since that's a very story-driven game, was watching the Brain Scratch playthrough of it. That would kind of ruin a lot of the story for me because I wouldn't be able to concentrate on things.
I don't know. That was kind of my first. Oh wait, no, my
the
first.
The only times I really watch LPs are for like in free circumstances. Games.
Yeah, if it's a gameplay-driven game, fine. But if it's a story-driven game, I honestly don't understand how can some people do that because it ruins the story for them, honestly.
I still can't believe.
In terms of the story-driven games, with me and RPGs, I usually look at the LPs to look at how the combat is.
Come here, you asshole!
But I won't look at anything spoilery. I'll just check out the combat and then leave.
Come back
I
here.
think it would probably
First of all, okay, not only do I love the overall look of the city, I also really like Greg's music here.
Mm-hmm. Let's just agree, Pedro, that it's
what
probably...
the
Whoa,
fuck?
Okay. Now we're getting spooky.
Welcome to Uncharted 2.
No. Actually, this is the area where in Colombia when he was. Yeah, what Nate said.
Anyway, how about this, Pedro? Let's just agree it's easier to not spoil a future game, regardless.
Sure, fine. I'll try my best to avoid that in the future.
Besides
these things again! Run!
Persistent little buggers, aren't they?
Ha.
But yeah, besides, it's more fun that way to see the surprise of your fellow commentators, in my opinion. That's why I make it absolutely important not to spoil any plot points of Ace Attorney.
Well, like I said,
you could have just laughed
and now he's actually a kid again.
Sad that Sully's quote dead, but no.
Well, Shiroi, I don't do it that way. I'm on the side of that being a true gentleman.
This is some mindfuckery right now.
Yes.
You don't say.
Anyway, well, like I said, if it's of any consolation, they don't use the Sully's death as like one big epic dramatic scene anyway, so it's not that big.
I see that.
It's not that big a deal. Oh shit, we're back to 20 years ago.
Hey, oh my god, so this is another thing Naughty Dog did better than Quantic Dream. The whole, I'm becoming a kid to relive my past nightmares shtick.
Yep. So yeah, you're probably starting to see where this is going, right?
I haven't played this game yet, and even having looked at Uncharted 4, I have no idea. I'm okay, fine. Shiroi, what do you think? What do you think is actually going on here?
She's just as confused as I am. Well, you can tell that's kind of the point. You're supposed to be really confused right now.
Can I have a guess?
Go ahead, Whips.
Yes.
The entire city is filled with hallucinogenic gas.
Wait, that's the ending of Pandora's Box.
No. There's no. Okay, fine. How about this? There's no.
Are we high again?
It's not a Pandora's Box scenario. Don't worry about that. If that's what you're worried about. However, Dwibs is on the right track.
Oh, so it's a Layton scenario.
No, not a Layton scenario. Like it's not.
No, I mean about the gas.
It's not like it's not there was never any city at all or anything like that. Don't worry about that. It's not that.
Well, I mean, there are plenty of Layton scenarios, like the whole city is fake, people are robots.
There's no. Well, it's interesting you say that because no, Drips, I got it. The plot twist is that everybody was a Ghost Rider all along.
So that means that Nicolas Cage never had to waste his life away. There were plenty of people to do the job for him.
Cool.
That reminds me. What are your thoughts on the Ghost Rider films?
I haven't actually seen them, but I've only seen a few clips here and there.
It's Nicolas Cage, of all people, playing Ghost Rider.
I know.
Oh, and the first film was directed by the guy who wrote and directed Daredevil.
Better than the second one in space.
Well, Joe, when the second film was partly written by David Goyer, it's
Oh crap!
Wasn't David Goyer also involved in the first one?
No, he wasn't.
Huh.
That's actually this is yet another thing that really makes me really dig Uncharted 3 over 2. Again, I'm not trying to downplay 2. I love that game. It's just that this game feels like it's playing less safe, shall we say. It's definitely trying something different and unique for the series so far.
What, you mean killing Sully?
No, not killing Sully. I mean, like, this whole scenario that we're going... This whole scenario and stuff like that. The game is definitely trying to, try different things in comparison to the first two.
Well, I'd say 2 also tried new things.
It did. Not as much as this one, though, I think.
I don't know. Okay. I definitely see where you're coming from. I guess for me, I feel like 2 and 3 are kind of... Okay, maybe 1 definitely did more new things, but I feel like they're on an equal tier of doing new things.
Again, like I said, I love Uncharted 2. I'm not in any way downplaying that game. I love that game to death. Not as much as 4 or even as 3, but I love that game either way, so whatever.
I think we can all agree that 4 is the de facto
best. Yeah, that's the general consensus. I mean, Neil did such a fantastic job with that game. Neil and Bruce, of course. In fact, Bruce is not going to be around for Last of Us Part 2, but whatever. I have faith in Naughty Dog. They've very proven with this game that even without Neil and Bruce, they can still make a great game. So I'm not worried.
I'll just stand off on a quote that some devs involved with Uncharted will be familiar with. What could possibly go wrong?
All right, everybody. All right. Tune in for the finale in the next part.
All right. See ya.
See ya.